Welcome back, everybody, to the Sports Headlines Show and Jackson Kruger Sports. I am Warner Sanker, bringing you a film breakdown on a top 5 edge rusher in this NFL draft class, Kwity Paye out of Michigan. He lined up at Michigan as sort of a 4-3 defensive end, number 19, right here on your screen on this play. Now, this is a 2019 Penn State versus Michigan game. So this is the year before COVID, which I think is really important to take a look at players and how they played the year before this COVID season, just because it was so extraordinary and out of the blue. So Kwity Paye is lined up on the left side of the line, and he's a big, strong guy. He obviously plays defensive end here, but I believe he can actually play some stand up outside linebacker. Still being an edge rusher, but think of like a Shaq Barrett, a Jason Pierre-Paul, or like a Zadarius Smith on the edge, or line up inside, sort of like a Frank Clark kind of, maybe like a little bit less athletic Montez Sweat, but really athletic guy. He's fast, he's strong, and a lot of indictments against him is he doesn't have a pass rushing tool belt. He doesn't have a great get off. He's not really physical. He doesn't have that same emotion, have that same drive that maybe some other players have. It's that same mentality. But I think he's a really good player with a high ceiling. That if he goes to the right system, and I think there's a lot of systems that can accommodate a guy with this physical skill set. If he goes to one of these systems, then I think he can be a really good edge defender. He's already really good against the run, and then as he develops those pass rush moves, he's going to be a real threat from the outside. So we're going to look at this play right here. Now, as the ball snapped, it's a play action. They're faking the inside zone split, and Kwity Paye gets really quickly onto the outside shoulder, the back shoulder of this offensive lineman, and fights around him, and then is going to end up running down and forcing their quarterback to slide. So let's watch that one more time. He fights around 53 and then continues to chase the play and goes and forces that the slide from the QB. And I think that's one thing he does really well is he can quickly get to where you don't want him to be. Now he doesn't have a great get off. He's not snapping off the ball like a DeMarcus Ware used to do with the Cowboys, or Spencer Ware, I believe. But he has a good enough get off, and with his physical traits, he can be a dominant force and just get around these offensive tackles and to the quarterback. All right, so here's Kwity Paye. Here's Kwity Paye again, lined up against 53 here on the edge, still against Penn State. And this is going to be just a really good play by him to, again, showcase how he is as a pass rusher. He's not necessarily a Rashawn Gary or a Carl Lawson who's going to convert that speed to power. He's going to get that long arm up and into your grill, right on top of your shoulder pads, and just drive you back into the quarterback and let him get around. But he's going to be more of a speedy guy. So they're going to motion the receiver over, and Paye's just going to get around him. He's going to get a good punch. And yes, he ends up falling down, but he forces that's what you call a sack created. That's what you call a pressure. He forces the QB to scramble out of there, step up right into his teammate 97 for the sack. All right, so here's what I want to showcase his run stopping ability, because I think this is what he does the best. He's more of a run stuffer coming out than a pass rusher, but I think he's still a first-round prospect based on the reasons that I've just explained, what I'm going to show you next. But really, this is a fantastic job at preventing the run here. So it's going to be an option play. They're going to motion over their tight end, their up back, and then it's just going to be a read option. And Kwity Paye is going to sling 74 over and really just get in there and wrap up the quarterback, which I think is key, because you can't just go for these big boom tackles and these leg tackles. He plays his lane well. He gets inside of the offensive lineman on his inside hip, and he makes the play through the block, which is key for this type of a defensive player. Now, here in this Minnesota game, one of the, I think, 4 games that Paye played this past season, he just takes over the game right here. This is in the fourth quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter. Michigan's really blowing out Minnesota at this point. But Kwity Paye is going to take over right here. And these next 3 plays, all in succession, and this is really what his ceiling, I think, could be as a pass rusher in the NFL. So first, on the run play, driving the offensive tackle back and getting the TFL for a 4-yard loss. What he does is he gets into the grill, uses his strong arm still, keeps his feet moving. And I said he's not a physical, like, power rusher, but he can still be physical, especially in the run game, which is what you really want to see. He's going to drive the offensive lineman back and then, while still engaged, make the tackle and wrap up. Then the play after that, still on the same side, he's just going to completely come around the offensive line. Now, while this is the first down to Rashad Bateman, it's a fantastic play by Kwity Paye, because if you look at it, he doesn't have a great get off here, but he still uses his speed to get upfield, and he actually shows a good pass rush move. He swats the tackle's hand out of the way and runs around, forcing them to dump off the ball 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Rashad Bateman, though, receiver 3 for the Sports Headlines show, and in our big board, receiver 3, though, makes the catch and turns it into a first down. But then the next play after that, Kwity Paye, still on the same side, working off the same tackle, fights through the double team and gets probably a half a sack right there. And just again, not necessarily a polished pass rusher, but when he executes his moves, he is phenomenal. He gets the offensive tackle out of alignment, and then fights through the double team and gets to the quarterback right here. And I want to show you one more thing that he is really, really good at, and that is his play off of a stunt. All right, so here's what I'm talking about. Back to the Penn State game, Kwity Paye is going to line up again against the left tackle of Penn State, which is usually your better pass protecting tackle anyways. But he's going to run a stunt here with his interior defensive lineman buddy. And he's going to basically, the IDL is going to cut towards the C gap, and Kwity Paye is going to stop on a dime, shift his momentum, and come straight through that B gap right here. He totally gets the tackle. The guard has to watch this D tackle that's slanting in, because that's his man, and he comes through. Now, if the center didn't do such a good job on blocking the other interior defensive lineman, then Kwity Paye probably gets a sack here. But just to show it to you again, he's going to have to loop over a second time. But right there, he has it. That's some running back type agility, the jump cut, the stutter step. And I think this is what makes him so intriguing, the physical tools that he has to come through and maybe not make a huge impact his first, second, or even third year, but then blow up for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sacks in a season once he gets that's maybe sit a year behind a polished pass rusher like Rashawn Gary did last year. I know they're different players, but really, really physically gifted player, and he plays with grit when he needs to, which is an indictment against him. But coming into NFL head coaching, I think that Kwity Paye can really take the next step and become a really, really good pass rusher, perhaps a number 1 pass rusher in the league, which is why you would draft him in the first round. Thank you all for watching this episode of the Sports Headlines Show on Jackson Kruger Sports. If you think Kwity Paye is going to be a legitimate first-round prospect, let us know. Also, check out our mock draft 7.0 that is coming out here in the next day or so. I am Warner Sanker. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out.